cyclists, in this video we're going to be talking about pedal stroke and how you can coordinate your push better than ever before and get the most out of your pedal stroke. I spend a lot of time in bike fits working with clients on how to get the most out of their pedal stroke. I see the same mistakes all the time, trying to solve people with toe pain, knee pain, hip pain, all manner of pain and problems and feelings like they can't get the most out of their body when it comes to the pedal stroke. A lot of the time that comes down to not being able to coordinate the push on the pedals. Generally, a lot of people who I work with on a regular basis, they've got a seated desk job. So they sit on a bike similar to how they would sit at their chair, and then they hunker forward like this. This creates a couple of different problems with respect to posture in general. The first issue is the hamstring's not in a position where it can extend from here to here. And essentially when I'm pushing down on the pedals in this position, primarily I'm going to be using my quads and I'm not going to be using anything else. Now, if I stop pedaling, close my eyes, pedal backwards, I'm tuning into my feet, you can hear this audible dead spot in the pedal stroke. And I want rid of that. I want it to be smooth. And it's not as simple as thinking about light feet over the top of the pedal stroke or thinking about pulling up so that area is smooth, because pulling back on the pedals and pulling up on the pedals doesn't work really well, and we can go into that later, because those of you who are going to get really angry about telling you not to pull up or pulling back on the pedals, I've got a lot of reasons why you only just want to think about pushing and letting the pedal stroke just do its thing. From here, what I want you to think about primarily is scooting back on the seat slightly and then rolling onto the bones either side the top of your leg. And the first thing that's going to do to your pedal stroke is allow you to use this upper part of your hamstring, which connects into the glute and also talks to the calf. And we're going to get all of these muscles working in the leg at the same time as you push down. This is the first thing and the most important thing when it comes to the pedal stroke, a coordinated push through your foot into the pedal. Let's get off the bike and do the first exercise. It's going to help you feel the right things that you need to feel in order to engage with the pedals in the right way. And this is a bit silly. So the first thing that you need to do is think about skipping in place. And the reason you need to skip in place is because you need your brain to talk to your legs. Okay, and you can see as I skip, my body is pushing down into the floor with my calf, hamstring, quad, glute. Everything's helping me extend. And a lot of people, when they sit on a bike, they almost forget that they're trying to push the floor and extend their leg. They try and sit, as I said, on a chair and lean forward, and it messes up the coordination pattern. And that's something we're trying to get away from. Sit down on any chair and you literally try and stand up in the same way that you try and push down on the pedal. So like literally standing up like this is really difficult compared to if I just lean forward and push the floor. You can see how much more simple the coordination pattern is. We can also go into another exercise that I call the golf putter. If any of you have played golf before, which I believe is quite a lot of you, just relax your lower back as you lean forward, okay? And imagine you're trying to hold a golf club and your belly button is pointing towards the end of the club. So that creates this nice neutral spine posture. You're in here. Now straight away we're in a position where our knees are bending and our hips are back and our feet are slightly flexed. And I'm gonna get you just to think about lifting the toe up very slightly. And all of a sudden we've got tension down the back of our calves, in the quads, in the hamstring and in the glute. And from this position, all you're gonna do is just bend your knees and straighten up. And again, this pushing sensation is the same sensation that when you jump on the bike that you're trying to lean forward and find. So again, from here, leaning forwards, you can see my hips are rearward of the bottom bracket, so my bum's back. My torso is leaning forward, my belly button's pointing towards the end of that golf putter. I'm not forcing any extension in my lower back. I'm simply just engaging slightly so that I can lean forward and drop my elbows. Just pushing my floor. And the difference here slightly is because my shoes are slightly kicked up at the end, I don't really need to think about lifting my toes too much, ideally. I'm just leaning forwards, I'm just pushing into the floor. If you can find the sensation of pushing off the bike really easily, as in you can go into that golf putter pose, lean forward and engage. A couple of things that make it easier for you to do the right thing on the bike would be the following. If you're struggling to push feel like you can push your foot down flat, as in you're struggling not to think about dropping your toes into this position, you can take your foot out of the shoe, you can put your foot on top of your shoe, and all of a sudden you're going to find it very difficult to do anything other than push down with your foot in that flat position, because your foot's not attached to anything in the same way as it was before. Why should I not pull back on the pedals consciously, and why should I not pull up on the pedals consciously? Hey guys, super quick, if you're finding this video useful, it would be super great if you like this video and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out. And if you have any questions, please stick them in the comment area below. I'll get back to all of you. Now back to the content. As soon as you pull back and pull up, a couple of things that are very destabilizing to the whole position start to happen. So if I actively pull back with my foot, you can see that that's going to have this knock forward effect on my pelvis. So off the bike, if I pull my foot back, all that's going to do is try and drive my hip forward. So this backwards pulling is going to be moving my hips side to side on the saddle, and I don't really like that at all. I think that's going to cause excessive fatigue in your back, and I think it's going to cause excessive work to try and stabilize your pelvis on the saddle. And this insole is contoured to match the shape of my foot, so you can do this either with a drop-in insole, or you can get yourself a custom insole. Now, this just turns up the volume between the connection of your brain and the bottom of your foot. So when I'm pushing into my foot as a whole, there's just more sensation underneath my foot that's just telling me almost where I can push into. Now that's really important, because when you're trying to engage this coordination, and it's a little bit unfamiliar because you're strapped to a pedal and a pedal stroke that isn't necessarily the most natural thing, having that kind of proprioceptive bridge to push into with your leg inside your cycling shoe is really helpful. And by the way, if you want some insoles, you can check the link below, because you can buy them from us. That are really specialist, low volume insoles that fit perfectly into your cycling shoes and really help you feel like you can connect and push into the pedals in a slightly better way. Another massive challenge when it comes to coordinating your pedal stroke is where your cleat position is. And I feel it's very important to bring this example in, because if you do what a lot of people I work with have done, which is my feet feel too wide, I'm going to buy a size of shoes too big because it's going to give me the width that I need, and now all of a sudden the cleat position is too far forward because it's on a size of shoe, or maybe sometimes two sizes of shoe too big. The cleat is too far forward because the drill holes on the shoe is pushed really far forward. My ankle's here, my toes are here. As such, the pedal will be way far in front of my ankle. My toes all of a sudden have no means of controlling my ankle from the axle of the pedal, so that my toes will lose any of that leverage. If the pedal's really far forward, I don't get the control that I would get if I was to put my foot further forward on the pedal. Let me show you. This shoe here is a few sizes too big, and this is a little bit of an extreme example. It's more just to highlight the extra challenge that is provided by a shoe that is too big, because you've struggled finding a shoe that is wide enough, and the impact effect that has on the pedal stroke. Now going straight back onto the bike, clipping in, all of a sudden feels a little bit more challenging. There's a few knock-on effects. I'm going to start to pedal, and you can see how much movement is being brought in by the fact that the cleat is so much further away from my ankle. Not only that, I'm going to have to bring my knee higher into a tighter angle and my hip higher into a tighter angle over the top of the stroke, which is going to make the pedal stroke harder to coordinate and feel even more jerky over the top. You can hear that clipping over the dead spot. Any challenge to your proprioception or coordination is going to make these dead spots challenging to you and harder to overcome with smoothness and efficiency. Nature is literally helping you the most with this kind of 90-degree part of the pedal stroke, where your hip and your knee and your everything is opening up to help you generate maximum torque. You want to have your foot in that perfect position as soon as possible, and simply by changing the shoes to the right size, you can see how much more stable and controlled this right foot is, literally thinking about doing the same thing left to right. And you can see with a side-by-side comparison of how much work that left foot has to do to clear the top of the pedal stroke. There's no way it's going to be as easy to coordinate what that left foot is doing. And as I'm sitting here pedaling, I can literally feel my left knee, I can feel my left hamstring feeling all sorts of weird sensations. I've literally started twisting forwards on the pedal because my brain's so much more connected to this right side. My left hand is sitting back on the bar, my right hand's forward because I can relax this side, whereas I'm literally having to post the handlebar with my left side to give my left leg enough space. You can see how hard it is to control the left foot through the bottom, and you can see how clunky it is to control that left foot over the top. And again, just swapping shoes. Not only will you have to take my word for it that this feels so much easier to coordinate a push, it's much easier to be smooth and controlled over the top of the pedal stroke than it was when both shoes were wildly too wrong in size and the cleat position was wildly too far in front of my toes. Another thing I see in bike fits all the time that makes it hard to coordinate your pedal stroke is having an excessively low saddle angle. Now, the reason that this specifically causes a problem is, imagine I snuck up behind you and pushed you in the back. The first thing that you would do is you would put your foot forward. On a bike, you can't really put your foot forward. So in this case, to stop feeling like you're falling forwards, you dig your toes down into the ground, and that's going to bring your ankle up into this high position. So looking at the saddle, yes, it's pointing down, but it's not pointing down anything wild, nothing that I've never seen before in a bike fit setup. But straight away, I feel like I'm going to slide off the nose of the seat. So as I pedal, rather than constantly feeling like I'm going to be falling forward, which I will anyway, I start to almost scoot back, lock my ankle down into this toe down position to compensate for this constant slip forwards. And that's going to bend the knee, so I'm going to be using more quad. It's going to stop me extending from my hamstring as much as I otherwise could, and that's the sort of thing that almost subconsciously tells me, oh well, I need to make this kind of full circle because I feel like I can't extend my hips properly and extend into the pedal stroke. You're far better leveling everything off and letting your pelvis feel like you can lean forwards, relax, push again with quad, hamstring, glute, all tied together into one coordinated movement and driving the pedal stroke round. Thanks for watching this video. If you thought it was interesting, please drop something in the comments. I'll get back to every single one of you. Please like, subscribe. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next week.